Thanks for joining a pretty specific but definitely a fantastic list of anime where the MC gets humiliated but comes back ridiculously overpowered. Number 10. Shiju Sayokyo no Dishi Kenichi. The words ultimate humiliation instantly remind me of Kenshi Shirahama, a high schooler that knows nothing but bullying literally every single day of his life. This brilliant series starts off very bleak, but brings a really heartwarming sense of comedy with some pretty brilliant martial arts fighting. Kenshi has had enough of the daily beatings and decides to follow the beautiful transfer student Miyu to a dojo with several fighting masters. Slowly, it becomes clear that Kenshi has a natural gift for fighting, but is even more driven and determined than anything. Initially training to defend himself from the high school bullies, they become nothing after one of the earlier arcs wraps up, and we start to get a sense of just how truly powerful Kenshi is, as this whirlwind action anime takes us to some pretty insane places. Stories of fighting factions and restoring balance in the world are always a fun ride with this anime classic. Number 9. Kitiko Hitman Reborn. Hitman Reborn is definitely a pretty zany and very fun watch. Bringing in a really interesting supernatural flavour, the comedy of this series is what really kept us coming back for more. I mean, even the core premise is hilarious. The story has us following a young boy that is set to lead a powerful and vicious crime family. The Vongala Mafia has selected the most powerful hitman, Reborn, to train and teach the young MC what it takes to be a boss. But Reborn is actually an infant. I mean, like a baby. Like Goo Goo Gaga, baby. The story is only set to get more ridiculous from there. A pretty successful series, the main driving force behind the series is the brilliant character chemistry between the assassin and the MC. Watching him grow from a weak and humble high schooler to a more vicious and ruthless mafia prince, all while trying to balance the comedic juggling act of remaining a simple student as he slowly gets sucked into this ruthless world of crime. Number 8. Hijami no Ippo. Overcoming weakness and becoming super overpowered, you need to get into sports anime. Now, they aren't exactly our cup of tea, but trust us when we say Hijami no Ippo can easily be considered the best in class. Based on a long-running manga, Hijami no Ippo blends action and comedy with a really great sense of accomplishment. Following a really shy and dutiful student, Ippo, that doesn't really have much time for himself. A great son, constantly helping his mother with the family shop. Unfortunately, our MC becomes the target of bullying and has no way to defend himself. One day, these bullies give our hero a serious beatdown. A random stranger scares them off and takes the injured Ippo to the local boxing gym. It's here that everyone realizes that Ippo is a naturally gifted boxer that should seriously consider a future in the sport. Tough training, balancing school and helping his mother, watch Ippo slowly get stronger and stronger as he feeds his fighting spirit. Number 7. Yona of the Dawn.
亡き父上の思いに仲間たちに報いるために
Yona takes us on a beautiful whirlwind journey and romance of epic proportions. Set around 2,000 years ago in the heavy fantasy nation of Kuyaka, the world of Yona is a blend of ancient Asian cultures. Stories of epic battles between humans and dragon kings. Restoring natural order, we follow Princess Yona and her sheltered life within the castle walls, protected by her trustworthy bodyguard. But the plot thickens when Yona's father, the king of Kuyaka, is murdered in cold blood, forcing Yona to go on an epic journey through her father's kingdom in an effort to summon ancient beings, the stuff of literal legends. in an effort to overthrowing the evil that is now ruling and try to save her country. A really phenomenal journey, and personal ties between the sweet Princess Yona and the horrible people that murdered her father makes the quest for revenge something that you can't look away from. Number 6. Assault World. Assault World really splits us up. On one hand, it has us captivated. It ticks all the right boxes: action, romance, and a really well thought out scientific world. On the other hand, we want more. Seriously, Assault World is brilliant. The MC Hao is this short, little fat boy that is constantly bullied at his high school, using the next level of neural linker technology to avoid his life, a lot like VR actually. Becoming an actual god in video games, the beautiful and intelligent female student council vice president notices our hero and decides to help him out with his bullying problem. Imagine that. The short fat kid gets one of the hottest and smartest girls in the school to help him out. Even better than that, she also loves video games. But this is just the start of the incredible tale in the series as we start to enter into isekai territory and learn more and more about the history within Assault World. Number 5. Witchcraft Works. A pretty heavy fantasy anime and a really brilliant watch. Actually, thinking about it, the humiliation and serious bullying at the start of Witchcraft Works makes us angry. But then I think about the insane power Honoka starts flexing on her haters later on, and it just calms me down. A reasonably normal high schooler living an uneventful life. But Ayaka, the beautiful school princess, sits next to him. She has a literal fan club behind her, and they are all so incredibly jealous that our hero gets to sit next to her that they constantly beat him up whenever he even looks at her. But one day while doing his duties, a literal building comes flying at him. Like, a whole building. Just as it's about to hit, a mysterious witch saves Honoka. Turns out, it's Ayaka. She's been observing and protecting him for a while, and witchcraft work unravels that history in a very interesting and innovative way. We don't want to spoil it, but definitely check out Witchcraft Works. The intimate main character makes this a really fantastic series from the very first episode, and the slow burn as we start to realise just how powerful the MC really is. Number 4. Tiger and Bunny. This is nice. It's light, has a great sense of fun to it, and paints a very, very interesting world around. Set in a futuristic city full of superheroes and villains that are actually paid for by sponsors. That's right, imagine Superman with Coca-Cola where his big S should be, or Batman brought to you by Nike. Tiger and Bunny tells the tale of two completely different heroes being forced to work together by their employers. As you can imagine, this is a fantastic reason to add a heavy dash of comedy into a world of superheroes. The fact that the fight scenes are pretty top-notch definitely helps as well. The story arcs also take us into pretty fresh territory as this exceptionally interesting world starts to get fleshed out in very original ways. Number 3. Is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? Heavy fantasy, and it gets a little catchy here and there, but of course answering the important question, is it actually wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? Well, you'll definitely have to watch to find out. Set in a pretty interesting fantasy world in which adventurers head into dungeons on the quest for crystal shards, used to make powerful magical items and sell them for money. We follow Belle Cranell, a 14-year-old solo adventurer that works hard to put food on the table, raised by his hero under the belief that you become an adventurer to save young females. You have to save weak female adventurers from hideous monsters. She's grateful and the two of you get to know each other. Hint, hint. That's their words, not ours. An RPG anime for sure, with a solid blend of comedy, action, harem qualities, and isn't afraid to get a catchy. you definitely do not want to miss out. Number 2. Hidan no Ari. We do love our anime with lots of girls and lots of guns. We follow a world that's riddled with crime and filth. In fact, it gets so bad that governments are forced to introduce a national qualification that is aimed specifically at getting rid of criminals. Imagine going to a school and learning how to defeat baddies. There are different specialised fields in getting rid of criminals, different weapons and tools. We follow Kinji, a student undertaking this kind of special training. The series starts off in the deep end with our MC viciously attacked by a famous serial killer, a case of the hunters becoming the hunted. The story is thick and heavy as Kinji teams up with an unlikely duo and begins his journey to hunt down this vicious serial killer and bring them to justice. A brilliant story that is very down to earth and extremely gritty. Some of the greatest series have a very clear-cut and focused story. You don't get much better than the hunt for a killer. And number 1, Hi to Grinsau no Grimgar. Dark fantasy and isekai, what's not to love? This is a pretty heavy series that's not afraid to take us to some really serious scenarios, but that is what makes this one of the more quality animes out there. We learn of these new adventures that originate from our Earth and forced into this fantasy world with all sorts of strange and mythical beasts. With no memory of how they arrived and what exactly has happened, it's really refreshing to check out an isekai with a blend of different characters reacting differently. The world slowly starts to unravel as these adventurers start specialising, hunting more and more monsters, getting stronger and stronger, trying their best to survive. A really fantastic journey that is carried through a diverse and interesting group of adventurers. But just don't get too attached to any of them.